Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am so delighted you're here with us today because we have a very special guest. Today we have with us Jules Larson. She is the owner of Mystic Cat, which she provides psychic readings and mediumship sessions and energy healing sessions. She does a lot of things. And I happen to be fortunate enough to have met her and had a session with her just a few weeks ago. And as soon as I did, I said, I want to have you on my show because she's fantastic. And I cannot wait to talk to her today about her gifts and all of the things that she does for people to help them live a better life. So thank you so much, Jules, for being on the show today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure.
I'm so happy you're here because, as I said, I had a session with you a couple of weeks ago. I went to a metaphysical fair in Collinsville, and you happened to be one of the people there, and you just stood up and came right over to me. And I'm like, okay, I need to have a reading with her. And it was spot on. It was fantastic. And I'm still like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all of the things she said. Because the first thing you said to me was like, how long have you been able to see things? And you're a seer. And I was like, oh my gosh, so true. And you had no idea who I was. Um, but I cannot wait to talk more about that in a bit. But before we get to that, I'd love to just find out a little bit about you. You know, how did you first start, or when did you know, I guess, that you were able to see things and that you had these gifts?
Oh my gosh. I probably recognized a little bit of it as a kid and didn't know it because there was nobody there to tell me. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Um, but I was in my early 20s and my mother was a massage therapist. And I was married and I had two babies and lived in Wisconsin. My husband was in the military at the time in the Army. So I was raising babies. I wasn't focused on anything like this. And my mom started going to psychic fairs in Kansas City and such, where we're from. And I would go home to visit and I would go on some of these psychic fair adventures with her and David, my stepdad. And my whole world changed. I became aware of energy. And it was amazing. And, for somebody who is a Leo with an Aquarius rising and a Taurus moon, that can cause a lot of conflict within because you got so many different layers of things happening and you become aware of that. So it's been a fun little ride. But yeah, that was, my mom would do massage on my boys. I have four sons, and my two older boys, they were little, and my mom would massage them and we'd do energy work. And 10 years later, my twins were born in North Carolina, and my husband was a paratrooper, 82nd Airborne. So Fayetteville it was. And they were born at 35, just before 35 weeks. They were 4 pounds each. And I would go to the hospital 3 or 4 times a day. And my mom and I went together for a month and massage. Well, we went to the hospital for several weeks. It was every day, 3 or 4 times a day to feed them. And we did massage and energy work from head to toe and then back every day on them, rubbing their fingers, their toes, their heads, their whole bodies. And they were able to go home in 2 weeks.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it was impressive. And energy, so through the years, I've just been busy raising children and moving and taking care of things and living life. So it really seriously came back. It circles back around. It doesn't leave you alone. You can ignore it, but it's not going to allow that forever. Like, it'll keep coming back. So it's kind of like a tennis match, but it's worth the effort in every way, shape, and form. And it's worth all of the work that you will do on yourself and with yourself and for yourself every step of the way. I started studying, I don't know what the proper term is. I call it shamanism. And, it was always, what do you want to be? What do you want to be, Jules? What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when, I was 40 or whatever, 50, whatever. And I don't know, but this sounds really interesting. So I'm going to do that. And I did all those things. I lived down near Wichita for a while. I drove up to Kansas City every weekend for a year, 3 years. And I earned my certificate in herbal medicine. And so I have that background. And then I also found out that I have, through ancestry and all that, I really do have the genetic background in that. A lot of my people were medicine people in that way, herbs, plants, plant medicine, that kind of thing. So it's really been a trip that brings you fullness and richness and adds to you as a human. And I really hope that I've been able to share that with other people, especially doing my readings. And my whole world opened up in a different way that way when I started studying shamanism. And it hit me on a really primal level to my core. And I knew I had it right. And I knew I had hit my true north. So I just followed that. And that turned into an epic adventure in the last 2 years, 3 years. Life changed a lot. And I had to slow down a lot. And so I did. And I met my friend that run the Kansas City Metaphysical Fair. And I met them in herbal class, and we've been friends for many, 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 many years. And so when they started doing the fairs in Kansas City, I asked to be a part of that. And they said, okay, well, we have to vet you first. And I'm like, come on. They're like, no, we vet everybody. I said, well, good. It's a good thing you do. It took me 3 years to get their attention. So, it's a busy thing to do. But, I did my part and got my vetting done and started doing the readings at their fairs and at other places too, other fairs. But Kansas City Metaphysical is my favorite. Everybody there takes care of each other and watches out for each other. And we are a family and a community unto ourselves. And I really love it and feel at home within it. If I didn't, I wouldn't be there. And I've been there for quite a long time, quite a few years. And it extends out beyond the shows too. And, it goes into our personal lives and our community here in Kansas City. And it's diverse and it's beautiful and it's enriching and it's wealthy in the way that you want to be wealthy, you know?
Yeah.
And I just started making choices that were better for me. And that's where I ended up and how I met you in Hollinsville.
It's just so interesting. And I always like to talk to people about how they connect because I know it's so different for every single person. For me, for example, I connect to energy and it's just like thoughts that pop into my head. But other people connect in a different way. How do you connect?
That's a very good, interesting question. And yeah, everybody connects differently. This is why the whole process is so individual and personal and unique for each person. Like you can go to a psychic fair and you can have 5 readers in a row next to each other. Each one of them is going to read differently. And it's just very, very dynamically individual. I feel things first. I'll feel it in my heart. And then typically on the right side of my body, I'll get goosebumps, little tingly sensations. And then I'll hear it in my right ear. It always comes through the right side. And so I'll feel it. And then if they want me to hear it, I'll hear it. And I'll always see it. I'll always get a picture in my head. A good example of that is this is many years ago, like 20 some odd years ago, a friend of mine named Dixie, who does readings still to my knowledge. She's a really good psychic. she took me with her because I was interested. Is when I first started doing all this and wanting to do it. And she said, well, just come with me and sit and watch and see how it's done. I said, okay. So during her reading with this woman, I was listening and I started seeing a taxi cab in my head. And I was like, Dixie, what does a taxi cab mean? And she goes, I don't know, ask her. So I did. I said, what does a taxi cab mean to you? And she goes, oh my God, I am such a taxi cab. I take the kids to school. I pick them up from school. I take them to their games. I pick them up. I take them to their friends. I bring them home. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that means. So the perfect picture of a taxi cab was in my head. So I'll get all of that. Typically, I'll get your ancestors first. So it's going to be a grandmother or a grandfather figure is going to come across first, and I'm going to feel it. And when I feel that, I will even get up from my table and walk out into the aisle and get you if I need to, because I respect it that much, you know?
Yeah.
And I know it's that important.
It was really interesting to me because when you did my reading, the first person that came, like I expected my mom to come through first because she's the one who passed most recently, but it wasn't. It
Yeah.
was my cousin who came through first. And you asked me, you said, "Do you know a guy in his 20s?" And I'm like, "No." Yeah. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, "Wait, yes, I do actually." And then you said, "This is your cousin." And I was floored because he does come through. My cousin passed away in a car accident. I was 14 and he was 24, I think. It was right after his birthday. And every single time I've gone to have a reading, he comes through in the reading. And it's
Yeah.
just so interesting. And I think I even said to you, I said, is he my guide or something? Because he comes through every single time, like first. And you said, yes.
Yeah. I can tell you he's here now too. He never leaves you. So he's like the beautiful little butterflies you got in your background. That's what he's
Nice.
really beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to tell you that after I had the reading with you, I texted his sister because I said, "Oh, I have to let her know." And I texted her
Yeah.
and said, "So your brother came through. I had a reading and he came through again." And she was like, "Oh, she said that makes me so happy that he came
Yeah.
through." So,
See, that makes me happy that she took it that way. Some people, it breaks them down again, and that's not my intention or their intention. Their intention and my intention is to validate that they are okay, that they are always with us, that there is still existence of us beyond our physical experience, and that they work their butts off over there. They're doing a lot for us all the time, but we need to be reminded that we have freedom of will.
yeah.
So they can only do so much. But yes, I have actually had readings I've done for people and they never figured out who it was. And I'm like, oh damn. I really that's frustrating for me as the reader because I know I can feel it
Yeah.
and it's just connecting with them. That gets really frustrating.
I know for me too, as a like doing readings for people, there will often be people who later go and then they figure out, oh, it was this person. That actually happened to me one time too when I was taking a mediumship course and we were practicing. And this girl kept saying, okay, your grandma is coming through and she's showing me bunnies. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, I have no idea. It was so random. And then later that evening, like that same day, I went to my cousin's house and she had a picture of my niece on her counter. My niece was named after my grandmother, and all around her, she had like ceramic bunnies, and the picture
Yeah.
frame was in a bunny frame. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. This is so
See, so
crazy.
you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to the symbolism and connect the dots.
Yeah.
So she was okay. So number one, the bunny rabbit frame. Number two, well, number one, your niece is named after her.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing. And then, the bunnies would get you to the picture, which would get you to, oh, she's named after grandma. Oh, that was grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really, man, it's like a detective thing sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Which
Yeah.
you think like, well, why wouldn't they have just more clear message? But I think sometimes it's fun for them to
Yeah,
it'll work.
and sometimes they have limits to what they can do as well.
Yeah. Because the
And
frequencies
we
are
don't,
different, right? Because we're vibrating
yeah,
so much lower and they're so much higher that we kind of have to meet in the middle somewhere.
yes, yes. And that's why part of what I do before and after my readings is to thank them for, coming in, but lowering their energy to be able to communicate. That's not easy, or it's kind of like a square peg in a round hole for them, or trying to, that, it's like that bottleneck in traffic, and you've got that feeling of being squished a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like that. So I'm always very grateful when they appear. I'm like, thank you so much. It means so much to these people, and to me, to be able to give people a sense of connection. And it's very important for me as a human being, as an individual, as a person, and my personality, but also as a person that gets very intimate with you and your emotions, to stand in my integrity and to make sure that you feel better after you left my presence than you did when you were before you got there. That's huge for me, because that's my greatest desire, is that you feel better than you did before you came, you know?
And I certainly did. I mean, it definitely, you gave me a lot of things to think about and some helpful guidance, which was really, really needed. I came there like just kind of with a heavy heart, and it made me feel a lot better.
Good, 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 good. And to be able to figure things out too. A lot of people need help figuring things out, because like I was saying earlier about the symbols and things, sometimes we miss those a lot. And when you can sit down with somebody who does this kind of work, they can help you. They're showing me a they're showing me a hair tangle, and when we have to sit and pick out all the little tangles to get it free, it's kind of what it's like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience if you've never, for anybody that's out there that's never had a reading. And for me, it was an incredibly, it brought peace, inner peace to me, which was a great thing.
Good, 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 good. Glad. That makes me happy.
And now, if we people out there listening, because I know I've had clients before who come to me and they'll say, I don't feel my loved one. I don't think they're around. I'm not getting signs. What would you say to those people who perhaps feel like they just aren't getting any signs, or they're not seeing any presence of their loved ones who've crossed over?
I would say do your work on yourself. When you do your work on yourself, you open up more of yourself to be available. And what I mean is, do your shadow work. Do the work on the parts of yourself that need to be cleaned up, just like you do when you own a vehicle or with your house. Um, you know, we're multifaceted beings, and we need to make sure that all the rooms within us are clean. And they're not ever going to be perfectly clean, but we can always make sure that we walk through them and take stock of what's there. And in order to do that, we have to slow way down. You cannot go 100 miles an hour and feel like you're plugged into 500 light sockets and be herding cats and expect messages to come through. You're not dialed in to be able to hear it, receive it, understand it, or receive the impact of it. So they're not going to do it. They're going to wait until you're ready to receive it. And if that means that you've spent your entire lifetime waiting for that, well, then so be it. But they've always been standing there waiting. So it's our job, it's our responsibility to meet them halfway, as you said, and do our shadow work, work on ourselves, make sure we're standing in our integrity. And we have to have a sense of belief in that as well. And I'm sure you understand what I say, what I mean when I say this. You've had the people that come and sit down and they've got their guard up so damn high that I've literally had to sit back and go, okay, you need to stop. Stop projecting so much defense, because I can't, no one's going to be able to communicate with you today if you keep that attitude up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to be willing and you've got to be open. I'm not saying you have to be easy or vulnerable. You're not making yourself a target. All you're doing is opening yourself up to the possibility of receiving something you greatly desire. So be willing, do your work, pay attention to what's going on around you, the symbols, the signs, even the little tiniest things. A butterfly lands on something right in front of you, or it lands on your nose, or, you know, little bitty. And trust me, when it's meant for you, you're going to feel it, and they will make sure you feel it. You'll never miss the message, but you got to slow down and you got to pay attention. You got to just allow it and give it space to be.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I've had clients who come through being very defensive before, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes just that their energy is all over the place. So one of the things I have to do with clients sometimes is I have to clear their energy first. I have to like ground them
Yeah.
before we can get started, because I'm like, you're all over the place. I can't tap in.
Did you notice the big, huge piece of black quartz that I had sitting on my table when I gave you the reading?
Yeah,
Did I ask you to hold it?
you didn't. I don't think you did.
Okay. Sometimes I'll have people hold some of the stones I have on my table. For that reason, that sucker's going to ground you into the Middle Earth quicker than you can spit. And I'm like, yes, do your work, baby. Do your work. And it helps the ADD thing, like you were saying,
Yeah,
the focus issue. Yeah, because half the time I think that people are afraid of what they're going to hear.
I think so too. I mean, I think so too, because I know my mom never wanted to get readings done. She was always
Mm-hmm.
interested in that, but never wanted to get it done because I think she was afraid of what would come out, or that something negative would come out.
For some people, especially our older generations, our mothers, our grandmothers, it was like opening Pandora's box. And you don't air your dirty laundry. You don't invite that kind of thing in, that juju. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get that, but times they are changing.
Yeah. That is definitely true. And what services do you offer? Because I know you do readings, but what else? Because I know you do more than that as well.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, you're gonna make me list things. Yes, I'm a psychic medium. I'm also extremely empathic. I can see ghosts and dead people and stuff. Right now, I am cleaning houses to earn my keep and gas money. So one of the ladies that I cleaned for moved, and all she did was move like 20 blocks north and slightly over to the west. But God Almighty, there's like 5 ghosts. I walked in her house and just started crying. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm walking around her house trying to figure out where I need to clean while I'm crying, wondering what the hell is going on, thinking it's me, you
Yeah.
know, because when you could work through your shadow work and you're always working and aware of yourself, you know, there are days you wake up crying and you don't understand why. You know, that's just the way it is. So I'm thinking it's me. So I go to the bathroom and I can see the living room or part of it, and it hits me like a brick. And I'm like, oh, this isn't me. And then I could see her, and she let me see her. And then I was like, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So I can clear space. I can cleanse space. I do weddings. I do celebrations of life to honor our experiences and our processes of those that have been before us. I'm an herbalist, so I have a whole wide range of highly energetic herbal preparations that I make. I'm going to be doing that more than I have been. I had let that go for a while, and it's been being brought back to my attention that I need to take it to a different level. So that's what I've been doing. So what I do is I'll make tinctures, which are liquid herbal extracts of plants. And then I do oils and like ear oils, your mullein garlic for your ears and different things like that. But I add chromatics. I add crystals. I add harmony frequencies. I add Reiki, and I add sacred geometry to it. So by the time you're getting this, holy beans, girlfriend, you are getting a massively powerful thing here. And I do the clearing. I can do sprays that cleanse everything. And I mean, I can do all kinds of different stuff. I mean, I'm a military wife, mother of 4, Scottish lady, so I can get it done when it needs to be done. So, and I got a lot of support and I've got a lot of help, and that's what I try to do for the community in return is support and the nurturing and the nourishing. So let's see, herbal plant stuff. Oh, I do house sitting a lot because I was a vet tech for 14 years and I love the animals. They are, oh yeah, and I can do animal communication. I pick up on animals like nobody's business. So that's another thing. Thank you for reminding me of that. I should have made a list. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I just wanted to let people know everything that you have going on because you offer so much. And like I said, the reading that I had was
Pretty diverse.
yeah. It was spot on and it was incredible and I really appreciated it. And so
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm happy to hear that because at the end of the day at a fair, we've worked 8 to 10 hours reading other people's energies and things, and you go home at the end of the day, you're tired and you're like, did it get through at all? I mean, people always tell you thank you, I really appreciate it and all that, but you're like, did it really do for them what I wanted it to do? Was my intention fulfilled for them, to be supportive and nurturing and nourishing and to offer them peace and harmony, where their lives are not displaying that to them.
Yeah.
And to help them understand that they create it themselves. And then to give them practical steps to do that in their own life. In the small ways, the subtle energy is where it's at, girl. It's not always about the grand gesture. Follow those subtle energies and they'll take you home every time. And just make sure that you stay true to yourself. Sorry.
That's okay. We've got a dog chorus going on because I
we do.
She has dogs too. That's so funny. They can hear each other and it's the energy, but that's okay. My listeners know I have dogs and sometimes they like to be a part of the podcast too. So we do what we can. That's what happens when you work from home, right?
Yes, I love it myself. I think it's great.
Yes. It is. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on here with us today. This was just such a fascinating and fun conversation. And if we have people out there listening who would like to get a reading, or maybe they would like to purchase some of your sprays or your tinctures that could help heal them, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you or to follow you or to work with you?
My Facebook, I have 2 pages. I have Julie Larson, that's me. But I also have Jules Intuitive Specialist. It should be switched over to the name Mystic Cat, but I haven't done that yet. Sorry, I'm lagging behind, but I've had big stuff I had to take care of first. So that's on Facebook as well. Much to my own dismay, I am not an email person. The hardest thing for me to do is check emails. I don't know why. It's because the rest of my life is overwhelming at times. So if people really want to get me and get my attention, text message me on my phone, 913-961-0489. And that's the best way to get my attention and get a hold of me because I can't always answer my phone, taking care of things that I got to take care of, but I can answer a text message.
Perfect.
So
You
I
can
always
get
tell
that
people to
info.
text me or message me through my Facebook page. I always check my messages too. So yeah, those are the two best ways.
Okay, and we'll have that information in the show notes too. So if any of you out there are listening and you'd like to get a reading, you can go directly there and go to the Facebook page or go to her texting. You can text her.
Yay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much. This has been a real fun experience for me. I appreciate the offer. Thank you.
You're
I'm very
welcome.
humbly grateful.
Yes, you're
This is
welcome. And thank
fabulous.
you for being here. And as I said, take my word for it. She is the real deal. She did an amazing reading for me. So I highly recommend going to check her out and checking out her Facebook page. And I want to thank you guys for joining us here today. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. And the greatest compliment you can pay me is to share this with anyone you think might benefit. I hope you guys have a beautiful day from wherever you're listening. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.